Malkia Cyril, you're the founder of the Center for Media Justice in the Bay Area. You have been focusing on net neutrality and what it means, especially for communities of color. I assume most people who are watching, listening right now around the globe maybe don't even know what that term means. It's become a buzzword, and maybe that's part of the problem. What does network neutrality mean? Why is it so important?
Network neutrality refers to the set of policies that would prevent the discrimination by internet service providers. It ensures that all content on the net is treated the same, all legal content. It prevents any blocking of any content. But I want to say this. We have, it's interesting, people keep saying, you're focused on net neutrality. Let's talk about that. At the Center for Media Justice, what we're focused on is equity. And net neutrality and the preventing our content from being blocked, from being censored in that way, it's about equity. It's about ensuring that online our rights are protected and that there's some rules in place that allow us to be treated fairly no matter who we are, no matter how we enter the internet, whether from the mobile internet or from the fixed internet, from a laptop or a cell phone, that we have the same right to enter and to play a fair game. And that's what net neutrality is all about for us. It's about making sure that no matter who you are, no matter how you enter the internet, that your rights online are protected.
Malkia, I want to ask you about the difference that's been evolving among the major civil rights organizations in the country around some of these issues. Back in the 70s, there were major protests across the country. I think between 1970 and 1973, there were 350 license challenges to television and radio stations across the country by community organizations who were demanding equity and better employment practices and better coverage. So the civil rights movement played a huge role in the 70s in diversifying and democratizing our media system. But now we're in a situation where the major civil rights organizations seem to be siding on some of these issues with the telecom companies, whether it's the NAACP, the Urban League, La Raza, they're all basically backing on these issues of net neutrality, what would appear to many progressives to be the wrong side. How did that happen, and what's being done to counter that?
It's interesting because in the news, in the media, the issue has been a debate between the civil rights community and the public interest community. But what I think is really at issue is it's a debate between whether or not corporations will run our democracy and run our internet service, or whether or not people will. I think that the question isn't about whether civil rights groups have sided with corporations. It's about whether or not corporations have a stranglehold on black and brown and other communities and poor communities. And whether civil rights groups make a decision or decide that, in fact, trying to get a piece of the pie is the best option, or trying to change the shape of the pie and ensure that we all get that equity, that's a decision I think that we all have to participate in. As a person of color, as a black woman, as the head of a nonprofit organization, it's my job to interact and engage the civil rights community at large and say, are we choosing the best course forward for our communities? And and that's a different conversation than saying, NAACP, Urban League, LULAC, are you siding with corporations or not? That's not my concern. My concern is, are you choosing the best course of action for black, brown, Latino, Asian communities, Native communities across this country, or is there a better option? Is there a way for us to work together across the lines of difference, across the lines of race, to get the kind of equity we all deserve?